Happy Friday, everyone. Don't you just love a discount? I think we all do. But sometimes some discounts are just plain dirty. That's what we're going to talk about on today's episode of the Friday Fraudster. Let's go.
Welcome to the Friday Fraudster podcast. Join them as they discuss sad, funny, and sometimes disturbing fraud stories. Be sure to catch past episodes on your favorite podcasting platform or go to www.fridayfraudster.com.
All right, welcome to today's episode of the Friday Fraudster. Now listen, don't forget to go and check us out on all of your favorite podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. But the other thing that I want to do, since I have your attention and I have you here, I want to invite you to the next episode of Audit Bites. It is going to be this Tuesday, same time, 11:15 a.m., where we will have another touchy topic. You can also find us on your favorite podcasting platforms for Audit Bites as well, or just go to auditbites.com. Now, without further ado, let's bring on our guest co-host for the day.
Hello, everybody.
I
I'm
think
back.
they already know you, but for those who don't know you, who are you?
My name is Christine Murray. I am an internal audit professional with 20 plus years experience in the financial sector.
Oh, that was quick and sweet. So Leslie Hendrick is here. Hey, Leslie. Stephanie is here from Idaho. Good to join us. Glad you could join us today. I'm all tongue today. So, Christine, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you like the finer things in life?
I guess, I don't know. I really wouldn't say that I do. I mean, like, I like my vehicle, but it's not like I'm wanting like a BMW. I do enjoy going fishing, but I'm not going out and buying a bass boat anytime soon because I live in Wisconsin, so we get to use it like 3 days out of every summer. So, I guess, I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of value in like the finer things at times.
So for those of you listening in, especially live, do you like the finer things in life? I'm just curious. Do you like the finer things in life? So, Christine, you mean no Gucci for you, no Prada for you, no expensive Lambos, nothing like that?
I do have I have a Coach purse. However, that was a gift from my sister. So, otherwise the purse that I actually use right now was like a $24 Carhartt one. Okay. I go for functionality.
Okay. Well, you know what? I actually have a Lamborghini of the Hot Wheels variety.
Did you keep it in the box to keep its value?
You know, I wish I had, but I was one of those kids that actually played with my toys.
Okay.
Right. So now Stephanie is saying fancy stuff is overrated, and Carol is here and she says, Happy Friday, everyone. So listen, if you could get the fancy stuff like a Louis Vuitton teddy bear at an extremely discounted rate, would you do it?
Okay.
You could get a Gucci bag at 75% off.
I don't know. So this is an experience that I had when I lived in a big city. I worked in not such a great neighborhood, and it was one of those things. I could get something at a very, very steeply discounted price out of the back of somebody's vehicle.
Well, yeah,
but I didn't because it was either stolen or fake. And I wasn't about to contribute to that. So I would be that person. I don't know. Would it be too good to be true? I mean, we've got like outlets, malls here that you can get name brand purses that are discounted. Um, but still at 75% off, you're still spending like $120 on a purse.
right.
So I don't know.
So now Carol says, no, it doesn't matter to her. She agrees with Stephanie, not
hmm
even at a discounted rate.
Stuff goes out of
Yeah.
style. I mean, um, I don't know. And I don't live in New
Mm.
York or any big city where it's prominent. I guess I live in the Midwest, so.
Now Leslie says that she goes for functionality too, not even for a reduced price. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, for a car, if it has doors, that's a good thing, right? And it drives, then I'll tell you, my car is what, a 2010. My car is pretty old. I'll drive it until it drops.
Now, I did splurge on our most recent vehicle that I got. But I didn't buy brand new. I still went with used. But I went for like I really wanted heated seats and I really wanted a remote starter. So I know some people are probably like, "Oh, that's crazy." Well, when you're working inside of a building, because at that time I was going to a corporate office, and it is 10 degrees below zero and it is snowing outside, I don't think you understand how much people really appreciate a remote starter and heated
Oh
seat.
yeah, I totally get it. Well, and I don't think I own anything that is quote unquote fancy. I try to look for functionality
hmm
and quality at the same time. Like clothes, I got a lot of black shirts because I like the color black.
hmm
I do like shoes, but I like the way that they look, versus getting the expensive brands. Like last year, I bought a pair of I forgot what kind of shoes they were now, but they were deeply discounted, like deeply to where they were the same price as just any off brand, but they were comfortable. And
hmm
some Kenneth Coles, that's what they were, some Kenneth Cole dressy shoes. But they were on sale, deeply discounted. So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll get these. Yeah,
We
yeah.
do spend a little bit more money on our shoes. But it's because we know that the better shoes you have, the healthier you're going to be. So like I don't go to Walmart and buy tennis shoes. Like we will like go buy, we have on clouds. So those are a little bit more expensive. But unlike our children, we also don't grow out of our shoes every 6 months to a year.
Oh,
So
tell me about it.
it's a gradual thing too. Like my 11-year-old, he doesn't get like $150 pair of Nikes because he's going to grow out of them in 6 months. But our 18-year-old, he likes his name brand shoes, but I mean, he's got a couple of like, I think he's got a pair of Nike Air Jordans that he wanted. That was his Christmas present. Um, and it was a couple of us going in on them, but he takes really good care of it. Like his shoes
Okay.
are immaculate. So,
Now that makes sense because Jordans
Mhm.
do cost a mortgage. I mean, so now
Yeah.
Stephanie says now she will pay more for something that is quality, but not as a status symbol. Now,
Mhm.
there are a lot of people who strategically look for deals. And I don't know if you remember, there was one episode we did of the Friday Fraudster when Kelly and Joe were here like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, where Kelly pulled up the auction records because a lot of times when the federal government
Oh yeah.
confiscates stuff, they recoup the money through auction.
Yes.
And so we got to see the listing. That's where we found the Louis Vuitton teddy bear. That's where that joke
Oh
came
yeah,
in.
that's right.
Yeah, it was from an auction listing. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering how much that thing sold for. So if somebody you knew had
Mhm.
access to an auction with fancy stuff at discounted rates, do you think maybe you'd get the fancy stuff then?
Possibly. I have to say that only because I did work for a company that we kind of had that as an employee perk for items that we had recouped that were part of a theft, stuff like that. So I did get, I was able to get my mother-in-law a set of 3 Tiffany bracelets for 25
Mm.
bucks.
Oh, wow.
So it was deeply discounted. Now,
Yeah.
did we get her those because of them being Tiffany? No, we got them because of the style, and we knew that she would like them because they were bangles. Um, but I also wasn't allowed to ask my family members, hey, we've got these sales. Do you want to bid on anything? It was for employees only. And then we could gift them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
now that makes sense. So what if I came up to you and I said, "Look, Christine, I've got the end on a lot of really good stuff, high quality stuff, name brand stuff at deeply discounted rates at federal auctions, and I just need you to trust me." What would you say?
Well, it's you, Rob. I
Okay,
mean,
well, it's not me, it's somebody else you know.
um, I think it would all depend on what they're selling and if I had a need for it. Like, I wouldn't
Mm.
just buy a Rolex to have a Rolex. I wouldn't just buy a Lamborghini to have a Lamborghini. I think I'd have to have a need for it. I mean, are they
What if
selling a
that
really nice
Lamborghini
Nesco for $2?
what if that Lamborghini was only $30,000?
I wouldn't be able to. I I wouldn't be able to. I mean, even if I thought it was true, I'd say no, because like I said, I live in Wisconsin. When can I drive a Lamborghini? The 2 months out of the year? Like for me, it's like what Stephanie says. It's the functionality, or Leslie, like I need to have a reason for it. I'm just not gonna buy it so I have a Lamborghini.
Okay. What about a G6 airplane?
I
Really,
don't have
they're
my
a
pilot's
private.
license. Well, you got to put me in the caveat if you're like, so Christy, if you were making $2 million a year, if you put me into a different income bracket, then I'd probably sit there and go, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and take a look at it.
Well, you
I
could
don't
buy the
have that
plane and
disclosure.
then rent it out.
I don't know enough about that.
Mm.
Would you? Would you buy a plane?
Oh, heck no. Well, okay. Based on the scenario that I laid out, the
Right.
first thing I would think is, what's the scam? If somebody's coming to me telling me that they have an in and that they can get me discounted stuff from
Mhm.
government auction, I would think to myself, why can't I just go straight to the auction myself? Why do I need you?
I would ask, why are you asking me out of all the people in the world? I think that's what would be my first thing is, why are you thinking this is something that I want? But you are right. I would probably do the same thing as, okay, give me the website so I can take a look and see what they have.
Right. You know, or I'd Google it to try and figure it out myself and find out what is going
Mhm.
on. Because, nowadays we know if it's a government auction, it's probably going to be open to the public. Most of us understand public records and public information, right? So, yeah, you know, I, so I wouldn't be able to fool you and lure you to give me money to auction to get things from an auction for you. Mm.
No, I don't think so.
I bet
I
I probably
mean,
couldn't fool Stephanie either, nor Leslie, nor Carol. Dang.
my husband, there's times he's like, "Oh, I saw this on cuz on like the TikTok shop or something." Like he even knows if there's something that I'm interested in looking at, like he knows not to click through there. Like he will go to Amazon, he will look to a different website, and then we'll research those websites before he buys anything off of it. Like that was our big thing when it came around Christmas time. Like, oh, we think somebody will really like this. Okay, well, we're not clicking any links in this social media platform. So I think we're really, really cautious about that. Um, yeah.
It seems like most people would be, and that's why I'm a little baffled by today's story. All right, so listen, guys. Today, there's a gentleman who allegedly falsely promised his victims that he could acquire at discounted rates exotic cars, planes, vessels, etc., that had been seized by the US government through forfeiture. So he allegedly promised the victim that he would take possession of these goods and then transfer them into their name in exchange for some earnest money payments. And
Mhm.
all an earnest money payment is it's a payment to show someone that you're serious about buying something. Before you bought your house, you put down earnest money. But you could see the house, you could walk in the house, you probably toured the house. But in this particular case, he promised that he could get them luxury goods, planes, trains, and automobiles, right?
I don't like just some random person. Hey, I got your number. Like it didn't even seem like he knew them.
Well, wait a minute. He was from the federal government, or he pretended to be. So you make a good point now. Uh,
Mhm.
to lure his victims into participating in the scheme, what he did was he contacted them via text message from multiple telephone numbers, and he falsely claimed to be a confidential government informant. Sometimes as a federal agent, or sometimes he pretended to be an attorney. That is what the
Wasn't it his
indictment,
own attorney?
his
It
own
was his own
attorney.
attorney.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't I just I guess that's my thing. Is I'm just like, man, he must have been a good talker.
You know, it reminds me of the Publishers Clearinghouse scams, right? Where they call up old people and they say, "I'm from Publishers Clearinghouse.
Mhm.
You won, but first give us your credit card number." Because if I ever get a call from a confidential informant from the US government, I'm really going to be scared because I'm going to be thinking, why are you calling me and asking me if I want some property out of all the
Mhm.
people in the world? Wait a minute. So you just bypassed your friends, your family members, even your significant other to where you guys could have gotten it at a discount and then sold it for a profit to pay for your kids' college fund. And you came to me, a stranger.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It makes me wonder if he was pushing a sense of urgency on it too. Like, hey, you got to put this down payment or this item's going to go. Somebody else is going to purchase it. Kind of like how you've got those people that'll call and pretend to be tax or IRS agents saying you owe us money before we involve the cops. Like, because he got a lot of money.
He did. He did. So let's talk about how much he got. He got a total of about $2.8 million from people. And they think that it occurred from 2018 until 2020.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just and where did he get? Like I said, where did he get the victim's information?
Right?
Because I can't just. I mean, it's not like he's pulling up a phone book. Because somebody who's making minimum wage or just getting by, um, I mean, they're not dropping $30,000 on a Lamborghini.
Well, and to make matters worse, to the point that you're making, how did you find those individuals? And hmm, how did you find individuals who were wealthy, looking for that type of item, and also gullible? Like that's a trifecta. You,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So now Marsha's saying that's a big red flag, and she also says those properties are deemed crown land, especially in Commonwealth countries. Yeah. So Marsha's in Canada. So yeah. Now in the States, it's, you know, property of the government. And so if somebody committed a crime, the government's going to sell this property until they can recoup enough money to make the victims whole. Yeah, now Marshall makes a good point. People's info is sold by telemarketing companies. Yeah, I mean, you had to find people who were wealthy enough. So now your list that you were obtaining had to be in a certain tax bracket. Well, also to a certain extent, hopefully nobody who's wealthy takes this the wrong way, but superficial enough, and also at the same time gullible enough to actually fall for this kind of scheme. I imagine he had more misses than hits, is what I would like to assume. But at $2.8 million, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I think he knows what he's doing too. Cause all right, you guys need to stick around for this one because there's a possible surprise at the end. There's more to the story. But before we get there, if convicted, he faces a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison for our favorite charge, wire fraud, 5 years for making a false statement, 3 years for impersonating a federal officer, and 2 years for aggravated identity theft. So he's stolen a few identities. And let's see. Ooh, a federal court judge will determine any sentence after considering, obviously, the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors.
He's gonna get out in 5 years.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Christine thinks he's going to get out in 5 years.
Unless he's got a previous record.
Well, now that you mentioned that, all right. What we're about to say next, we don't know with 100% certainty. Couldn't verify it with 100% accuracy, but there's another case by another individual that appears to be this gentleman, which is, oh, just wait, it's going to blow your mind. Let me just go ahead and get to it. If this is the same gentleman, he was involved in another case where he was, and I say this in air quotes, working with an ICE special agent. And apparently, this gentleman has several prior convictions in the US, as well as an outstanding warrant for his arrest. Now, the case that we're talking about is where he received some assistance from an ICE agent to re-enter the country after traveling to Mexico City in September of 2013. The ICE agent apparently intervened with the California Border Patrol agents on his behalf to help him get back into the country, even though he was not legally allowed to do so at that point in time. They're saying that this gentleman provided some financial benefit to the ICE agent by way of Dodgers playoffs tickets for his assistance in getting him back into the country. So the gentleman that we're talking about today left the country, went to Mexico City. He was properly denied re-entry back into the country. An ICE agent stepped in, helped him get back into the country, and for that, allegedly, he compensated the ICE agent with Dodgers tickets. Now, I can tell you that this ICE agent has been sentenced. So he's going to trial and was determined to be guilty of helping this gentleman get back into the country. Now, if this is the same gentleman, that means that we have a gentleman who was in the country on a different visa status. It wasn't a permanent resident. I forgot the visa status now. He was already in the country, committed some crimes while he was here, left the country, was supposed to be denied re-entry, but got an ICE agent to help him re-enter the country illegally, got back into the country in 2023, and then several years later committed the crimes or allegedly committed the crimes that we're talking about today. Whew, that's a lot. Sorry, hopefully I summarized that right, but that's a lot.
You did, because when did that one take place?
2013.
I mean, I
Okay.
wish we had a picture and we could just like validate, because there's another gentleman who has the same name in Utah
Yeah,
that I don't know. He was a witness against the brothers from the polygamous Kingston group and
oh,
was now, yeah, regarding Jacob and Isaiah Kingston, who are now accused of fraud and money laundering.
oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. That one was 2019.
Yeah, and that's why we said allegedly, people, because we're not sure if it's the same person or not. The name
No,
is a very uncommon, well, it's a semi-common name, and so we've been looking it up, and we think that it might be the same person, not 100% certain. I was trying to verify it, and I couldn't find pictures either. I was searching for some pictures. Now, Marsha says corruption at every level. Where are the audits for these services? You know what? There actually are. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, there actually are auditors that work for the Department of Homeland Security. I think ICE falls up under Homeland Security. I think. Let me see now. I might be wrong.
well, and it's even one of those things, like we could always sit here and be like, as AI intelligence gets better and we're able to utilize it better, this is kind of the stuff that could be flagged. But even the method that he did it, I mean, now you're going to be okay with the government monitoring text messages? Like that would have been, that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything a federal agency could have done to
Mhm.
catch this part of it where he scammed the people out of the money for. That's just due diligence and having common sense around who you give your money to as an individual. But
Right.
if this is the same individual that re-entered the country and had the warrants, then yeah, that something should have been done about that. I'm hoping that it's actually not the same individual. Um, I'm hoping that we didn't allow um, our internal controls to be that lax on people entering the country, but you never know.
Yeah, because they really didn't give, the Office of Public Affairs really did not give a whole lot on this gentleman.
Yeah, but I'm
But I
still
mean, you never
baffled.
know.
I'm still baffled at the initial alleged crime of someone called you up and said that they were an agent of the government
Mhm.
or an attorney and said that they could get you Lambos and boats and stuff at discounted rates if you just sent them a certain amount of money, and you actually did it. They said that they could
Mhm.
get you items from government auctions, and you didn't think to yourself, well, maybe I can go to the auction myself, or maybe I can hire somebody I trust, bless you, to go to the auction. Like that just didn't cross your mind.
Yeah. I really want to know what type, like the specifics of the luxury assets that he was trying to pawn off. Um, like getting a list. I mean, I don't know. And maybe he was utilizing the government forfeiture site.
Oh,
Maybe
I'm
he
pretty
used
sure he
it in
was.
his, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In order to know what goods were actually available, he was most likely using some website. I mean, each state, I believe, has one for state property, and then there is a federal one, I believe, or there are third party services that you can pay to get the list. Because I remember Kelly found a couple and was able to get the list for certain things that were up for auction. Again, that's how we found the Louis Vuitton teddy bear. But yeah, that's just weird. I can't see a world where somebody calls me up and says that, and then I say, okay, I'll bite. I just no. Well, that and I don't want that kind of stuff anyway. So
Um, I mean, I'm kind of looking a lot of it from the U.S. Department of Treasury. A lot of that is homes that are for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they got a 2007 Jeep Wrangler.
Oh boy, how much is it? What's the opening bid price? They probably don't even say that though.
Starting bidding opens in 3 days, 19 hours and 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's the thing. Okay, if we logically think about how auctions work, there is no guarantee that you might win the auction. So how do you convince somebody that you can get them property from an auction? Like I'm just a little baffled there. Like I understand if you tell someone, here's what I would like for you to bid on for me, and here's some money just in case you win, and then we put that money in escrow so that if you don't win, it comes back to me, and if you do win, it's released to you. But I just don't understand putting a down payment on something that is not a guarantee.
right.
So
I mean, how
I
often do they actually sell them?
yeah. I guess no amount of money can buy street smarts, eh?
Well, the U.S. Marshals is selling a Sea Ray 460 Sundancer with a 27 Achilles motor. Starting bid is 80,000. But it's an online auction.
Yeah.
West Coast, California.
Now, Christine, if you would like that item, I would just require you to give me $40,000 right now in earnest money, and I can get that to you. I can transfer it to you as soon as you give me the money. Yeah.
All right, let me borrow out of my 401k.
I I I don't know. This one got me, and so as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Yeah, this has got to be the story for this week," because I think we've been doing some heavy stuff lately, where there were a whole bunch of
Mhm.
risk and controls involved. This one is just like, why? Like, like how? One thing I was
Yeah.
looking for was at least the number of victims, like how many people, and I didn't see that either. So
Well, I mean, I guess if it's high-end luxury items, if you're selling them at a discount, I mean, I don't know. A Bentley, if you can get a Bentley for 60,000, is that a decent amount? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not like he had to sell a whole lot of things to eventually get to that 2.8. Um, I mean, we had some of those. I mean, we've talked about individuals who've embezzled money and they've spent $90,000 on a watch. Um, so yeah. I'm just surprised that it's coming out now, according to the indictment from 2018 to 2020. So it's been 4 years, or did it
maybe we
just take
can
that long?
I blame COVID. I mean,
Yep.
everything
Could.
slowed down. I don't know. Yeah, the other thing that bothers me is, I, hmm, if you really wanted the luxury stuff that bad and you couldn't afford it, then that means that maybe it's a want and not a maybe it's a maybe you don't need it if you can't
Mm-hmm.
afford
Right. Yeah.
it. Yeah. Because I mean, there are things that I've wanted before and they were pricey, and I'm just like, okay, I'll never buy that. And then as I've gotten older, I'm thinking to myself, I'll never buy that simply because it's unnecessary. Like if I had a gazillion dollars, maybe then I'd want a boat or something, you know. But I don't know if I want a discount boat. I mean, they sink.
Right.
It's just,
Well, you buy a used boat, you're gonna have to put more money into it within the first 3 years because something's gonna happen. So you might as well just buy new.
yeah, that's like taking gum from somebody that's already been chewed, right?
Or I mean, in all honesty, you'll have all the money in the world with a gazillion dollars. You can just buy friends that have their own boats and just go with them.
True, true. Yeah, so this one baffles me. I'm wondering what you all think about this one. Here's the other thing too. I know we got people who are trying to listen on the LinkedIn app. Sometimes it doesn't
Mhm.
let you comment. I get emails after. I wanted to comment, but just go to our YouTube channel. It,
Yeah, YouTube's a lot better.
yeah, it's that audit guy, and then the number one. Long story. I actually have that audit guy too, but somehow I started growing one. And anyway, long story. That audit guy won until I can merge them both or do whatever I need to do. But yeah, yeah. Now, Marsha is saying people don't do due
Mhm.
diligence in their quest to get rich, and these scams seem too good. Yeah,
Well, they can, you know what? They can get something that's worth, $20 for a buck and resell it for 15. They might also be looking at it as a way of, I can get this really nice item for dirt cheap, and then I can just resell it and make money. That could be another option.
yeah, but it's still just I don't know. It reminds me of Jay Wellington Wimpy. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Now, why would I? What's the benefit for me? Like Christine laughing at me.
Um, I'm I'm thinking I know who you're talking about. Okay, yes, I am. All right. I see. I'm
You
not
know
that
who I'm
young. I knew who you were talking about. I know what cartoon character you were talking about.
I was about and for those of you who don't know, let's see. Let me get myself together here. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about this gentleman right here,
Mm-hmm.
the old Popeyes movie, and he would always say, "I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today."
As soon as you said that, it popped into my head. I'm like, nope, I know who that is.
But why would I
Um,
do that though? Like, why would I? I just I don't know. This one baffled me. So if you are listening and if you have ever been scammed, oh, you're probably not going to admit it. If you know someone, wink, wink, who's been, who's been scammed, let us know in the chat. Send us an email. I don't know. Somehow let us know because I'm just baffled by this one. A federal agent calls you. You know what? So I remember at one point I had someone, a relative, call me up and say, "I've got Publishers Clearinghouse on the line. They're telling me that I've won." And I was like, "Okay, so what's the next steps?" Well, they wanted me to send them my social security number. No. And then they said that they could deposit it in my bank account if I sent. No. I mean,
I haven't had anybody personally that's close to me that I know of, but working in the financial institution world for 20 plus years, nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me.
yeah,
So, I mean,
nothing.
I've seen it all. I've seen people get taken for money by caregivers, um, family friends, people getting scammed, by the water company that called them because they were past due on their water bill. Um, I've seen it everywhere. I've seen it all, or at least I feel like I have. It's sad.
Have you ever seen one like this before?
No, not to this extent. But I know that one of the things that are really nice is in our area, in our community surrounding where I live, a lot of our financial institutions, they almost like they work with a fraud task force with the local police departments. And they do a lot of acknowledgement on websites, pushing communication out. Um, So they do have that. So where there's certain locations and branches, they will work directly with the local police department. So if they start noticing scams for like water companies or the IRS calling and stuff like that, they will push out that communication to the community, which is nice to see. It's really nice to see that.
Yeah. And I know in a lot of areas where people still go and bank branches, even competitors, that the tellers will call each other and say, hey, here's a
Mhm.
scam that's going around. Please protect your people. Now, Marsha is saying that she thinks the biggest scam is crypto, Ponzi schemes, stuff like that, especially in the case of Bernie Madoff. Yeah, yeah. And I think those have a level of sophistication that this one didn't, because they have a trusted person typically. They have typically an underlying asset that actually has some value that you probably could get. 'Cause I mean, just by the nature of the way an auction works, I don't get why you would give somebody money for this, because my first thought would be, what if you don't win the auction? And then that
Mhm.
person says, but I'm a government insider. I will win. I will rig it. And then I'm like, nah, wait a minute. But then that would also mean if I won it and then they caught you later on, they could come back and take it from me. So
If it
like
is
all of
too
these,
good to be true, I
yeah.
was a loan officer and some gentleman's like, I really want this vehicle. They're selling it out of Illinois and it's like $8,000 less than what like the NADA value is. And they're just trying to get rid of it and they're going to pay to ship it down here. And my first question to them is, why do you think they're having a hard time selling it in Illinois if it's a four-wheel drive vehicle and they have snow up in Illinois? They wouldn't have a hard time selling it. And I said, that's fine. I said, see if they'll send you a copy of the title. Guy wouldn't send a
Mm,
copy of the title. And
there you go.
I remember he was like, as soon as he wouldn't send that to me, I kind of realized, no, Christy, you're right. It was a scam because he wanted me to send him $3,000 and then I could pay him the rest once the vehicle got shipped.
And I think that's the big lesson for us, right? When in doubt, ask for evidence.
Yep.
Because I really do believe people who are trying to be honest just give the evidence and here, and I think they just hand it over.
Mhm.
Oh, so you're uncomfortable. Here's what I can give you. But people who are being deceptive lie and use their words that have no meaning.
Mhm.
Oh, you should trust me. Hey,
Oh,
look, I'm just a this, that, or the other out here trying to make a buck. I'm just trying to feed my family and all
our
that kind of good
yeah.
stuff.
Our
Yeah.
oldest girlfriend wanted to buy him tickets to the Minnesota Green Bay Packers football game for his birthday.
Mm.
And there was a gentleman out of a city that's about 2 hours away from ours. He's a season ticket holder and he couldn't go. And he's like, just Venmo me like $100 to hold the tickets, and then I'll send them to you and you can send the rest. I go to church. I'm a God-fearing man. Like,
Yeah.
and I just told her, I said, no, I said, tell him you'll drive and meet him halfway. And then he can show you the tickets on Ticketmaster or wherever, what platform he has them, and you'll show him the cash, and then you guys can swap. Oh, I'm busy. I've got a life. I mean, they'll make excuses.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and to make it worse, usually when people invoke church and God, those are the ones that you know are really scamming you. Like you shouldn't have
mhm,
to tell anybody that. Why are you telling me this? It,
mhm,
let's just let's just say you are a person of faith and you are righteous and holy and whatever. Wouldn't your actions show it? You wouldn't have to tell me that. But that's one of
right,
my red flags. Anytime a person says, I'm a man of God or I'm a woman of God, you shouldn't have to say that. If that's,
right.
so I know you're scamming. That doesn't make sense to me. That's crazy. So, you see, so it remind God. I'm gonna
Another
say it and then I'm
story.
gonna let it go. No, it reminds me of the pastor years ago, and you guys have seen him. His name is Creflo Dollar. I mean, he has dollar in his name that he uses, and he told his congregation he needed a new G8 plane, and told him how much money it would cost. I just Mm,
Is he still operating?
I believe so. Let's see. Uh,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm.
So you shouldn't have to tell people stuff like that, and that's kind of your first sign that something is probably a scam. Just probably a scam. All right. So, hey, Marsha knows what I'm talking about. She said that famous plane. Oh, and Shree is over on YouTube. Christine is gonna go look it up now, and she's
I
gonna
am
email me
$60
later.
million for a jet.
And honestly, that is probably a decent price. And Marsha saying yes, his church is still in the church business. Yeah, yeah.
He wanted seeking 200,000 people committed to sow $300 or more.
I,
You can
you
donate
know,
on the church's gift page.
some stuff you just can't make up. You just can't make it up. So, well, all right. Let's see. We've talked about auctions involving fraud. We've
Hmm.
talked about crossing the border illegally. We've
Yep.
also talked about good old Wimpy. And we've talked about G8s and church congregations. I think
We
we
covered a
beat
lot.
this one a bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, moral of the story, if someone tells you that they can get you something from a government auction, you probably shouldn't trust it. You can go to the auction yourself, you
Hmm.
know?
Right.
Oh, wait a minute now. I don't know about this one. The collection in a wheelbarrow? I hadn't seen that. Was that something he was doing? Oh man. Oh wow. Hmm. Interesting. So, all right, friends. Thank you for joining us on this episode. We will see you all next week.
We'll see ya.